9 things you didn't know you can make in your air fryer, and they're so easy. Number 1 is apple crisps.
So I'm going to take my apple and I'm going to slice it up nice and thin. To get the thinnest slices possible, I've actually decided that I'm going to use this section on my grater, and look how thin that is. Probably much easier than actually using a knife. Now that I've got my apples sliced, I add a little bit of sugar. It's really up to you how much sugar you put on these. Just give those a little toss and add a little bit more. Just get them really nicely coated. And then I really enjoy some ground cinnamon on mine. So then you should have some slices that look a little bit like this, and we can get these into the air fryer. Now what we're trying to achieve is basically drying out these pieces of apple. So you want to put them on a low temperature for a longer amount of time. So I tend to go with a temperature of 150. Some of these pieces are quite thin, but just spread them out because it's going to help them to cook a lot more evenly if you do that. So yeah, so 150. Try and dry these pieces out the best you can. Around 20 minutes normally works pretty well. Keep an eye on them. If you obviously want them a lot more crispy, then you can go for longer. But let me show you how these turn out. So after 20 minutes, this is what you will get. So these lovely little crispy apple pieces, and they taste so good because they've got that sugar and cinnamon on them. They're really nice as a snack, really great for topping your cereal, your breakfast. Obviously it doesn't look like a lot. You could do a lot more of these in one go. So you could definitely do sort of 3-4 apples at a time, depending on the size of your air fryer, of course. But these are a great little option and something you probably didn't know that you can make in your air fryer.
Number 2 is refreshing bread. The next thing I want to show you that you probably didn't realise that you can do in your air fryer is refresh bread. Now I often buy a French stick and have some left over, and the next day it's just a bit stale. Even if you put it in the freezer, it's never quite the same. But let me show you this trick to refresh it in just a few minutes in your air fryer. So I like to dampen the outside of my baguette with a little bit of water. It doesn't have to be too much. I get it into my air fryer basket. If it's really quite stale, I do as much as 4 minutes, but you may need less, so just keep an eye on it. 180 works perfectly for me. Okay, baguette is now nice and crispy on the outside, which is how we want it. Lovely and refreshed. Let's cut that open. Oh, you can hear the crunch. And it is lovely and soft inside. Well worth doing, and now you have a nice fresh baguette. My third offering is air fryer cookies. So who'd have thought you can make cookies in your air fryer as well, and these taste so good. Really simple recipe. So what we're going to do to start with is measure out our light brown sugar, and you want 100 grams of that. Now we need some white granulated sugar, so 75 grams of that. And it's nice to use the combination because the brown sugar gives you that real nice sweetness and that kind of caramel sort of stickiness to the cookie, but the granulated sugar gives it a nice crispness. So once you've got those, you then add in 125 grams of unsalted butter, and then you want to cream those together. And when I say cream those together, you just need to mix them. Whether you do that by hand or in a processor is completely up to you. We're going to do it by using my mixer over here. Once you've creamed together your butter and sugar, you add in 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla, half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Give that another quick mix. All we're doing now is just combining the egg in, and then we'll add the flour. So you're going to need 300 grams of plain flour and 1 tablespoon of corn flour. Now you can use whatever chocolate chips you like. We tend to like to do half and half. So we use 100 grams of milk chocolate and 100 grams of white chocolate. Go. Oh, look at that. Now mix it again really slowly until that starts to come together. And that is all you need to do to make your lovely cookie dough. So what we do now is to try and make the cookies even-ish, we scoop out some cookie dough, making sure that it's got some of the chocolate chips in it. You want to form the dough together with your hand, and I tend to weigh it so that they weigh sort of between 50 to 60 grams per cookie, and that way they're kind of equal-ish. So I'll be back when we've done all of those. So the ingredients here have made 14 cookies, so I'm going to have to cook these in a couple of batches, I think, because if not, they're not really going to have enough space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rack, and I can cook 4 on the bottom and then 4 on the top like this. I just put a little bit of parchment underneath them. So put these onto air fry on 160, so that's 160 degrees Celsius, or you can put them on at 320 Fahrenheit, and they take just 10 minutes. What you may find is the top ones cook a little bit quicker. You may need to just take them off and continue cooking the bottom ones for a further minute or 2 sometimes. Keep an eye on them, but these are so easy, and I'll show you what they're like when they're baked. So whilst those ones are in the air fryer, I'm just prepping the last ones here so that when they're done, I can grab these and put these into the air fryer as well. A little tip here is that cookie dough freezes really, really well. So what you can do is you can get them to this stage and say you don't want to use your air fryer twice, or you don't want or need this many cookies in one go. Then this batch, you can put these into the freezer, and you can actually cook them from frozen as well, and just add on a minute or 2 and they will be cooked through, or of course you can defrost them and then air fry them. And this is what they look like. You want to cool these on your parchment paper to let them firm up, but then you've got these absolutely gorgeous cookies. Number 4 is salmon. I'm bringing to you another thing that you probably don't know that you can make really simply in your air fryer, and that is a gorgeous piece of salmon. So I've got a salmon fillet here. You can use red pesto or you can use green pesto. Of course, you can use whatever flavorings you like, but I really love this. We enjoy this in our house. So I'm using a nice little layer of this red pesto right the way across the top of that salmon, and that is going to flavor that beautifully. And on top of that, I like to add a little bit of Parmesan. So these are some just very thin pieces of Parmesan here, and let's layer those on top. I forgot to get tomatoes in my food shop, which is really annoying because normally I lay tomatoes, just some cherry tomatoes sliced on the top, and that's really delicious. It makes a really nice Italian style dinner, this. So that couldn't be any easier, and I just literally put this in the air fryer. I'm going to get this onto air fry. We're going to select 185 as our temperature, and really you can go anything between 8 and 12 minutes. It really depends how you like your salmon. Some people like it more well done than others. So anything between the 8 and 10 minute mark, maybe up to 12. So let's go with 8 minutes, and we can always add on. I forgot to mention that it's a good idea to pat your salmon dry just with a little bit of kitchen towel, kitchen paper, and that way it's just going to absorb those flavors of the pesto and the Parmesan that you've put on it, but it's not going to be too wet and soggy. You're going to get a nice crisper piece of salmon. So let me just show you what your salmon will be like after 10 minutes. Look, it's flaking. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. That for me is just right. Obviously, if you like yours less or more, go for it, but that is perfect for me. Number 5 is a delicious porridge ideal for breakfast. Porridge is something that you don't even realise that you can make in your air fryer. And I do this all the time. I really like a porridge done this way. So I've just got some oats in there. You can flavour it with whatever you like. I'm just putting over a little bit of cinnamon over the top. And then milk-wise, I don't measure anything. What I do is just add enough milk to cover those oats. I'm using a hazelnut milk here, but again, you can use any milk you want. So it just covers them, I would say like that. And then I put this on really low in the air fryer. So you can put this into anything that is oven proof, and I just sit that into my air fryer. I air fry on 150, so it is very low, and that's why this works so well. And generally mine takes around 12 minutes. And this is what my porridge is like. As you can see, it's absorbed lots of that milk. Obviously, if you like yours a bit more wet, you can add a little bit more milk, but I really like mine just like this. How easy was that? I literally walked away and left it.
Number 6 is a hard-boiled egg, or should I say air-fried egg.
Another thing that works really well in my air fryer is simply eggs. And I love doing my eggs in here, especially when you're doing quite a few. So if you're looking for a hard-boiled egg, you're going to want to air fry this at the lowest setting that your air fryer goes to. My one is 150. If yours will go a little bit lower, then great. So I find that on 150 for a hard-boiled egg in the air fryer, so I'm talking completely hard, ready for, say, egg mayonnaise, you're going to want to go around sort of 13, 14 minutes. If you prefer a jammy egg where it's sort of a little bit soft in the middle, then 11-ish minutes, maybe 12. And if you want it really soft in the centre, then around 9 minutes on air fry. Let's get some in. And I'm going to be hard boiling these. Well, boiling, we're not actually boiling, are we? So I'm just doing a couple because I want to make some for some egg mayonnaise. In fact, let's go with 3. Get the lid down. Obviously, we don't need to do anything else. I've got my ice bath ready here because that's going to stop the eggs from cooking. Now we're on to air fry. As you can see here, the lowest mine will go to is 150. And I'm going to do these for 13 minutes. Just taking them straight out of the air fryer. You want to get them into the iced water. That's going to stop the cooking process, cool them down, and allow us to take those shells off really, really easily. And that is the great thing about air frying them. There you go. Perfectly hard-boiled eggs. These are absolutely ideal for making egg mayonnaise, which is what I'm going to go and do now.
This isn't a recipe, but number 7 is mini eggs, and it's a great hack.
Mini eggs taste absolutely great when they're melted in the middle. So all I do is put them into an oven-proof dish and they go into the air fryer. Okay, they're done. Let's get them out of the air fryer. Let's put them onto a plate. They're very warm. Look at that. They're all soft and squidgy in the middle, and they taste so much better when they're like this.
Number 8 is my discovery of cooking bacon and making fried bread at the same time.
If you don't want to put your bacon in the air fryer basket because it's too crowded, you want to cook a bit more maybe, then this could be the way to do it. So I'm using the rack and I've just literally laid them over. They're not touching the floor. And we're going to see if we can make some fried bread in the bottom. I've got 2 pieces of bread, which I'm going to just about fit into there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to literally lay this on top and we're going to air fry it. And I'm hoping that all the fat and the gorgeous juices from this bacon are going to make that bread taste so good. And we're going to have the best bacon sarnie. There's no right or wrong here. Just depends how crispy you like your bacon. I like to air fry mine. That's my favourite method with bacon in the Ninja. I normally leave it on 200. And it probably is going to take around
8-ish minutes like this, because it has got all the air around it. We can check it though, that is the beauty of air frying. Pop open the lid and have a look. So let's go with 8 minutes. That is exactly how I like my bacon. If you don't like yours as crispy, obviously just cook it a little bit less, but it shows you how effective it is to air fry using the rack. Now let's have a look at that bread underneath. And what we have underneath is some bread that is toasted slightly, and it's got all that gorgeous bacon fat. Obviously, if you now wanted this more done and more crispy, you could just leave this in for a little bit longer, but I'm good with mine like that.
Lastly, number 9 is my favourite thing to make in the air fryer, and it's a toastie.
Now this is so simple, as I said, but it does make a very, very good toastie. So bread-wise, I have found that a thick sliced piece of bread is the best option here. I've got some very soft butter, and I'm going to butter both sides of the bread. It's a little bit of a naughty lunch, but it is so good. You can choose whatever filling you want to put into yours. I'm going with a classic today, which is a ham, cheese, and a nice layer of mustard. So flip them over and do the same on the other side. Be quite generous. Make sure you get those corners buttered nicely. Helps when your butter's nice and soft, doesn't it? Now we're going to go in with some English mustard. Gives it a really good kick. Spread that just on one side, I think is going to be plenty. Don't want to blow our heads off. And then onto that, we're going to layer up some beautiful ham. Like that. And now go on with some cheddar cheese. And I've got some slices here, but you could cut some up. And then pop that on top, and we have our sandwich made. And then we're just gonna change that onto the air fry setting. 200 degrees is great, exactly what we want. And we're gonna go with 10 minutes. So when that beeps halfway, we'll give it a turn over at the 5-minute point. Let's go. Everybody's air fryer is gonna be slightly different, so just keep an eye on it. And this to me is perfectly done. Lovely and crispy, but without being burnt. That is a perfectly cooked toastie. Lovely and crispy. Let's go in and give that a slice. Look at that, it is oozing out. 10 minutes were absolutely perfect. That cheese is literally just melted out of there. And I'm going to serve mine with some homemade coleslaw.